Welcome to 100 Yards of Football, and this is our legend segment. And I'm your host, Bobby Butler, and we got an awesome guest today. One of my former nemesis back in the old day, Palm Beach County great, Mr. Carlos Carson. Carlos, welcome to the show.
Hey, Bob, thanks for having me on the show, man. It's always a pleasure to see you and always a pleasure to talk to you.
Well, man, I tell you, it's been a long time. Like we said before, last time I laid eyes on you, always good to see you as well. You know, I have so many fun memories of our history together, right?
Sure.
And so I want to ask you some things because a lot of people watch this show, parents, kids watch the show,
Sure.
and everybody think that there's one way to get where you need to go. So I kind of want to go over, how you began, how you started, and we'll escalate from there, okay?
Sure. No
So
problem.
you were born, I say you were born in Lake Worth, Florida, right?
Yeah, I was born in Lake Worth, Florida at the time. At the time we weren't allowed to go to, the hospital in West Palm, so we had to go to Lake Worth. So that's my fame and claim of being connected to Lake Worth.
Right. And then you played high school ball at John L. Leonard, which is in Lake Worth, correct?
That's correct. It's a small world. How in the world did I know that I'd be playing football and going to high school in Lake Worth instead of West Palm Beach?
Exactly. So for Vincent, Mr. Football Turner, I just want to let him know that Carlos is from the 561, if you're out there watching. So you attended John L. Leonard, and you were a three-sport guy. We competed against each other in football, basketball, and track. So I got to ask you this question. As a kid, what was your favorite sport?
Well, my favorite sport was football.
Okay.
Second was track,
Mm-hmm.
just because I looked at it as a way of competing,
Mm-hmm.
and I just enjoyed the sport.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So now, like I say, I compete against you in all three sports. And ladies and gentlemen, I want to tell you, we know him as a great football player, but he was a heck of a track runner, And so you were great in track. And I can also say this, that in 1976, you were the fastest guy in Palm Beach County.
I was lucky enough that you guys didn't run. That's the only problem. That's the only reason why I got it.
Well, you say you didn't run.
Give yourself
The problem
some
was
credit,
you
man.
didn't see us because you were out in front all the time.
That was. I don't know how that happened, Bob, but hey, I guess I've always ran scared, so that was.
Well, I tell you did an awesome job. Now, my cousin, who you know quite well, you may not even know that we're related, will argue that point. And so I'm going to let him hear this, and he's going to be calling me. He's going to be angry. Kirby Jordan.
Oh yes, Kirby. Hey, great rivalry for the 100-yard dash. I've enjoyed competing against him so much, man.
Absolutely.
How is he doing?
He's doing okay. He's still back home.
I said hello.
I'll make sure I do that. And he'll be calling me. Trust me. But I got a chance to witness it all. I was a year behind you and Kirby. And so you two guys were hunting it up. And I guess the next tier was me and Leroy Love and the guy from Pahokee. And so we were right behind you guys. But, man, I tell you, I really enjoyed watching y'all compete in that 100. And you were a great 220 guy, too. I mean, special. I think you were the first guy I saw run, high 21s, mid 21s.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, that guy's getting it, right?
Well, you know what? I've always felt that 220 was my best race.
Okay.
I just had a knack for being able to run the curve.
Mm-hmm.
And I really enjoyed that race because it was not only about speed, it was about endurance.
It's about endurance, absolutely.
And that was just a fun time.
Mm-hmm.
Running at John L. Leonard, running against Atlantic,
Mm-hmm.
all the other schools that out there, Lake Worth.
Mm-hmm.
There was nothing better, man.
Yeah, we had a great time. That was a great time.
Oh, it was. It was great. It was friendly, highly competitive.
Mm-hmm.
We always talked a little trash, but that goes along with it. But it was all in good respect.
Well, it's competition. That's what you do when you're competing. Now, we competed in those three sports, but I got to tell you right now, there's another area that I competed with you in, but I think you got the edge on that too. I mean, you got us in almost everything.
No, man. Hey, Bobby, look, I remember that 49-0 whipping y'all put on at Leonard. I never forgot that, man. And
hey, you didn't forget the score.
So funny, Bob. I can see it in my mind. I'm running the sweep, and I got a chance to cut back, and I don't know if it was you or the whole team hit me on the sideline, and the whole sideline just like woo, and I'm like, man, I didn't see nothing else after that. But you guys had some great teams down in Atlanta.
Well, I tell you what, Delray is a football town, and it has
Yes.
always been. And you know, even when my dad was a child, I mean, they played great football. And when I was a kid watching Carver High play before we integrated schools, you know, Carver High won the first 2 state titles in Palm Beach County.
Yes.
And back in the days when Suncoast was Kennedy, Roosevelt, we had, you know, back in those days.
Absolutely.
It was a great time. And like I say, we've always had great football players. But I tell you, there's another place where you competed now. You had probably the best afro in Palm Beach County.
Hey, man, don't bring those up. You can see right now, I have mustache receding and
we on the other end of it now, brother. People need to know that we wore it well back in the day now.
Absolutely. Wore it proud. We put our hat on, have the flag and all that.
Absolutely.
That was the style back then.
That was the style, man. But listen, man, you out of high school, which, you know, when I started researching things on you, I was kind of marveled at the one thing. They said that out of high school, you were not recruited that heavily. Is that true?
That is very true. I was not recruited heavy at all. You know, Bob, you know, we played at John R. Leonard. We basically had to scrape guys together to have a team. We only probably had, 25 guys on our team. And we were basically average. And mostly all the scouts were going down to Miami at that time. I mean, I give credit to O.J. Anderson,
right,
for really starting them to recruit down in Palm Beach County. He was the first one to go to a D1 school, and like I said, I was just blessed and lucky that I had a teammate that wanted to go to LSU.
Wow.
Paul Miller, great punter, and we sent a film up there of him. And Scooter Purvis, who was the coach at LSU, said, "Hey, look, man, we like Paul, but we noticed another kid on your team, number 24. We'd like to sit down and talk to him." He came after school, Bob. We talked for about 2 hours. I don't know about what, but we just talked about everything. And he said, "Hey, son, you know, I got 2 scholarships left to go to LSU. Would you like to go?" And I looked at him, "Bob, are you kidding me?" I said, "We'd love to go. I'd love to go." I had never visited the school, didn't know where it was.
Really? Wow.
About it.
Wow.
And that's how I got there.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it is. And
that's amazing.
Like I said, we have a lot of athletes now. They finally realizing that Palm Beach County has some athletes that can play on the D1 level. But at the time that you and I came up, hey, if you wasn't 6'2", 230 that can run, you weren't playing.
Exactly.
I mean, you weren't considered. And I give Otis, you know, yourself, Anthony Carter, all those guys that came out during that era. We just had to make it.
We did.
And just once we got there, all we wanted was an opportunity. Once we got there, we just made the best of it.
Absolutely. So you played college ball at LSU, 2019 defending national champions.
Hey, that feels good to say that, man.
You know, that's amazing, right? but you know, it's amazing. So when I think about LSU program, and we're going to talk about that a little later, but when I think about the program over the years, man, you guys have always had great talent.
They've always done a great job of getting talent out of everywhere. Texas, Florida, Louisiana. I mean, a lot of great talent come out of there. And they just believed in playing the best athlete.
Right.
And it's no different than what it is in Florida State.
Right.
We all have our ups and downs, and I think we've had it. And we got a great coach that came in there, and the one thing that he recognized was that in order to beat Alabama, you got to open it up. I give him credit for that.
Got to do that.
And Alabama was the standard that you had to beat. And Ed has come in there and opened that offense up and given LSU some hope.
Right.
And that's it.
So I tell you what, Coach Argeron, I love that guy. Matter of fact, he was on the Southern Cal's coaching staff when my son played at.
Oh, okay.
Right. And so I got to know him and really liked him. And was
Sure.
disappointed myself when he didn't get the job after Coach Carroll left.
Right.
Yeah, but anyway, we played with guys like in college, Steve Ismerger, David Woodley,
Yes.
Hokie Gajan, Tracy Porter, who's another great wide receiver,
Yes.
Orlando McDaniel, who we just lost this year,
Yes. Yeah.
Greg LaFleur, great tight end,
Yes.
Jesse Miles, running back, my partner in crime, James Britt,
Oh yeah,
Willie Hill, Chris
Hey, let me tell you
Williams.
something about Brett. James was the cheapest person in college I've ever seen, man. Was he like that when he got to the Falcons?
Listen, when he came here, I think James was a second round pick, right?
Yes. Yes.
So he was a high dollar guy. He drove a green Hornet, probably the same car he drove in college,
Yes, it was.
his whole entire career with the Falcons. You hear what I'm saying?
Hey,
I mean,
James was like that in college.
S10 Blazer or something, right?
Yes.
But you know what? It paid off for him because he's a great businessman. He saved his money and, started buying real estate back in 1984. I remember him and I go to the courthouse steps, and he's done a great job for himself.
Yes, he's done. I've always admired him, and I always knew that he would do something special. And like I said, it's funny, but his greatest quality was,
Absolutely.
Hey, I'm cheap, but I'm smart, and I'm going to do what's right.
And he did what was right.
Yes.
So in 1980, we had the NFL draft, and the defending Super Bowl champions.
Yeah.
The Chiefs.
It's been a magical year, man.
Man, it's been a great year for you, man. I'm telling you, your college national title, your pro team won the Super Bowl this past year. Man, you've been grinning since January.
Oh, I have. It's been a fun time. Great to be in Kansas City right now.
Oh, absolutely, man. But I tell you, man, even there, you've had some great teams in Kansas City. I started looking at, I can remember some of the guys you played with. Thank God we didn't play y'all that often. But even when I look at the guys you played with Bill Kenny.
Yeah.
Was one of your quarterbacks. Was he the main guy?
Yeah, he was the main guy at that time. We drafted Todd Blackledge at that time.
Mm-hmm.
He had a hard time getting on the field.
Right.
Guy by the plate with Steve Fuller.
Okay.
And Steve DeBerg.
Steve DeBerg.
He had some Atlanta.
Old man.
Yeah, old man. Greatest play action guy there is.
Absolutely. So you played with the Christian Okoye, the Nigerian Nightmare.
Yes.
Right? You played with Stephon Pace, who's another great receiver.
Yes.
Actually, I remember one summer y'all came to the Falcons training camp, and we did 2 or 3 days together in practice.
Yes, we did.
Got a chance to practice. Of course, I know who you. I never really knew much about Stephon.
Right.
Man, he was a pretty good player.
Stephon was really underrated. I don't understand how we missed. When I say we, as the NFL missed him, he comes in as a free agent, 6'2", had great hands. I mean, wasn't fast, but they say the same thing about Jerry Rice, but I never saw anybody catch Jerry Rice.
Exactly.
Stephon is a good guy. He should be on the Hall of Fame wall with the Chiefs. I don't know, sometime soon.
Well, I hope so too, because I thought he was a polished guy. But it's amazing. I think a lot of times, when you look at back in those days, Carlos, you look at West Coast football.
Right.
They were with the ball. He went to Fresno State.
Sure.
And so those teams, like I know I had a teammate, Stacey Bailey, who played at San Jose State.
Mm-hmm.
Those guys were very familiar with the passing game.
Yes, they were.
I mean, they seemed to have every trick. And, they just knew everything about running routes and, and things like that. And so, So anyway, it's had to be a great year. Those guys winning the national title in the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk a little bit about you in the NFL. You were a 2-time Pro Bowler for the Chiefs.
Right.
Here are your stats. You had 353 receptions. You had 6,372 receiving yards, and you caught 33 touchdowns. That was a pretty good career, bro.
Well, I appreciate it, Bob. It was
pretty good.
a lot of hard work, and I had some great teammates that helped out, and all this could not have been accomplished without them. And I had a quarterback that believed in throwing the ball to me, so that's the key.
So let me go back a little bit because everybody's got their own story, and to me this is the most important part of what we do. I mean, we're having fun and getting to see each other again and talk about old days.
Sure.
But for kids, as a kid, what were your dreams? Did you have dreams? What were your dreams? You had any as a young boy?
Well, my dreams were one to make something of myself,
Mm-hmm.
and I saw football as an opportunity to
Mm-hmm.
do that. Uh, didn't care where I went to school at, as long as I went to school.
Absolutely.
And I was all set, really, Bob, to walk on at A&M, Florida A&M.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and so that was basically it. That was something that I wanted to do.
Okay.
Had all the dreams, aspiration. Didn't know if I would get the opportunity,
Right. Right.
but like I said, God has been good and
Mm-hmm.
sent Scooter Purvis down to see me, and the rest is history. I
Well,
mean, I can't deny that. So, but Bob, I'll be remiss if I didn't tell all my boys. It takes hard work.
mm-hmm.
It takes some dedication. When you don't want to practice, you got to practice. When you don't want to get up, you got to get up because guess what?
Absolutely.
There's a kid in Iowa. There's a kid in Hawaii. There's a kid somewhere else
Right.
that was getting up, going to work, and those are the kids that you're going to have to compete with to get a job. And I tell my kids, it's no different than football. It's just in life.
Yeah,
You
there you
you got to compete, and you got to be willing to do whatever it takes to be successful.
go. Absolutely.
And there's no guarantee that you will be successful, but
Mm-hmm.
you got to be prepared.
Well, I tell you what, there's no place for hard work,
No,
and there's no place for doing the things that you have to. It's amazing. I really believe when you have that burning desire, that thing deep down in your heart,
yeah,
it'll make you show up and do things you don't want to do.
there's no doubt about
Right,
it.
right. 'Cause I remember in high school, I used to excel and lead in every area, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was always out front, and of course I was a quarterback.
Sure,
But I was so small, and I could not compete in the weight room, Carlos. I couldn't. I was just, Steve Cornelius and all those guys,
sure,
Elijah Davis. Those guys get up on those benches and they're bam, 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 bam.
right,
Man, I'm sitting there like, man, I'll be in the back. So my
sure,
coach told me one day, he said, Bobby, he said, college coaches really don't care how much you lift, but they're more interested in how you use your body weight. So he said to me, he said, now I want you to get on this dip bar and learn how to do dips and use your body weight. So
sure.
that day I got up on the dip bar, I did 3 dips, which was embarrassment, right?
Yeah,
But now I was going into my senior year. When I got to Florida State the next summer, I out dipped the whole team. I did 74 dips.
wow,
Bam, 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 bam. But I couldn't bench but 165 pounds because we never had free weight.
sure,
But I put the work in, and then when I got to school, of course, getting in that program and doing what you have to do, it just elevated that. And so
sure,
you got to put the work in.
absolutely.
So yeah, that whole thing about you being recruited was mind blowing to me. So you played running back in high school. You ever
I
play?
did. I played running back in high school. Bob, we never passed. I couldn't catch a cold, man. If it was
Are you
50
kidding?
degrees,
Are you kidding me?
couldn't, man. Hard work, Bob. When I got to LSU,
Mhm.
just really wasn't polished because we ran the ball quite a bit.
Right.
But how I really developed confidence with my hands,
Mhm.
I should catch 500 passes a day in the off season, 5 days a week.
Say that again for the viewers. You did
I,
what all season?
I just catch 500 passes a day
Mhm.
in the off season,
See,
5 days a week.
putting the time in.
Putting time in. I mean, I just had to learn how to be a receiver.
Mhm.
My first year, I returned kickoffs on special teams,
Mhm.
and let me tell you, you don't last long if you're playing special teams. I wanted to be a receiver, and the only way you can do that, you got to learn how to catch, and two, uh, there were many guys that were much more talented, bigger than I was,
Right.
but they didn't put the work in
Mhm.
to learn the plays.
Right.
Coaches nowadays, as you understand, coaches tell you, hey, my job is on the line too. When I put you out there,
Right.
I'm trusting you to do what I ask you to do.
Mhm.
If I can't trust you, I
Mhm.
can't put you out there.
That's right.
So it's not just about talent, it's about knowledge, being able to know your plays, study your plays, take the time out to not just, hey, I made it to the NFL, I'm good.
Mhm.
I've had a lot of success in college. I was the biggest, the fastest in college.
Right.
Guess what?
Hmm.
Those same guys are now in the pros, which you have to compete against.
Absolutely.
And you and I know,
Mhm.
hey, it's about film study, being able to, you know what's coming at you. You know
Absolutely.
what's coming at you. You get an advantage
Mhm.
that most guys don't understand. But wow, I ran this route and Bob just jumped it. I wonder why. Well, Bob understands when I take a split on the numbers,
That's right.
I'm a runner out.
There you go.
So I have to, look at that and say, I have to study myself.
Right.
Well, hey, I'm gonna start on the numbers, but guess what? I'm gonna go inside 2 yards,
Right.
and Bob he's got to now.
You gotta respect
Like
that.
you got to respect that.
Right.
So,
Hmm.
young guys need to understand it's not all about just going out and just physically beating guys
Right.
because you have more talent, but I maybe outsmart you and get
Right.
an advantage on you.
And it's amazing. And as you go up different levels from Pop Warner to high school to college and to the NFL, man, the talent, the guys you're facing, at one point we could say we're the best athletes on the field.
Yes.
But it came to a point where we couldn't say that no more.
No.
And so I remember in college, Carlos, I would face 3 good receivers every year. Every year. That's it. So I really had to play hard 3 times.
Absolutely.
The rest of the time, it's just a joke. When I got to the NFL, every week there was somebody who could take you.
Absolutely.
And so how you get that edge? Film room.
Yes.
Film room.
Right.
I got a great story about that. I met Lem Barney one night at a jazz club in Atlanta.
Okay.
And he said he watched me play and, man, you cover well. Man, I was like, what? Lem Barney said that about me?
That's right.
So he asked me, he said, how do you study film? And I very proudly stuck my chest. I said, I don't study film. Man, when I tell you, Lem Barney chewed me out like I was his own kid.
Oh, that's great.
Took me in the back room in the office and started to break things down to me. Best thing ever happened to me, Carlos, in my whole life. Because I took it up, I heard what the great one said,
Yes.
and I started to study film. And my coach at the time was a guy named Fred Bruni. And he would break it. And man, I just started being like another coach because I started breaking stuff down so much.
Yeah.
It gave me an advantage. And then when I got later in my career, when I couldn't run as fast,
Yeah.
that was the thing that kept me in the game.
You know what, Bob, you hit it around the head because if you play this game long enough, God giving you so much talent.
Yes.
But then again, some of it goes away. So how do you stay competitive?
Right.
You stay competitive with your mind,
Absolutely.
being able to get an advantage on some guys.
Absolutely.
So it's funny, man. I'm glad Lem reached out to you.
Oh, absolutely.
It's no different than me working with Otis Taylor.
Exactly. So it changed my life. And then what happened with me, guess what I did? I passed the baton to Dion.
Absolutely.
Me and Dion used to sit down and watch so much film. He was just a young puppy.
Right.
And then when he left, he started passing that same thing down to everybody that he played with. So that's just how it goes, right?
Absolutely.
So listen, man. So you go to LSU, you can't catch a cold, but in your first college start, you caught 5 touchdown passes against Rice University.
That was just magical. Magical. But you know what, Bob? To take that back, that was my second game. We played up in Indiana.
Okay.
We played University of Indiana.
Okay.
I had 2 passes thrown to me. I dropped one and caught one for 12 yards.
All right.
Then we played our first home game at LSU.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I caught the 5 touchdown passes.
Wow. That was an amazing day. That was an amazing day. Well, let me say this, y'all. I got to tell y'all this, right? So Carlos and I played against each other for the first time in 1979. We played a national televised game.
Yes.
In Baton Rouge at LSU. And it was a big game because, you guys were at SEC, you were loaded with talent. And, of course, we were just starting really to find our way and to get out in our lane. And we were winning games. And so we met head to head. And it was really a great game, We were a different team. A lot of people from an offensive standpoint, we threw the ball quite well.
We did.
And back in those days, a lot of people were running the wishbone, the veers, the I formation, especially at SEC was about running the football, right? And so we come in and nobody was used to, hey, look, these guys are going to drop back almost every down and throw the ball. And so we had a good game. And so we were winning the game. The game was coming to an end. We're in the fourth quarter, and LSU was driving. And Carlos comes out the huddle. I'm lined up on Carlos. And I was supposed to go bump and run, but I said, I'm going to back up a little bit, and I'm going to back up. I'm going to get with him that way. So I backed up a little bit. Next thing you know, Ismerga threw the ball, and Carlos going to call a touchdown pass in the back of the end zone. And people, y'all got to understand that you can't go home for Christmas when your homeboy has did you like that on national TV. I'm telling you, bro, I was hiding. When I went home, I was hiding. I can't go out. I'm going to go see my mom and dad. I'm going to go see my girl up in West Palm. And I'm not going to go out because I know I'm going to catch fits on the streets. Man, how'd you let Carlos the Magic Man get you national?
I've heard that name for a long time, man. Hey, that was
I'll never
forget one of them evenings. But hey, I give you guys credit. Y'all came into Baton Rouge and got us. So I was envious of you guys' offense. I'll tell you that because I was like telling my coach, Coach Collier, this is how our team's supposed to pass. You see all the routes they're running.
And we did everything back in the day. And it's amazing because you could have been there. Anthony Carter has signed with us.
Okay.
Then the midnight hour changed his mind. And so I can imagine having you and Anthony Carter on the same roster at Florida State. Now, I told AC this a couple of weeks ago. I said, bruh, I'm telling you right now, by you not going, we lost 2 national titles. Because we would have won them.
Yeah.
I promise you, we would have won them. That year we played you, we were 11-0. We didn't lose a game the season. And we lost Oklahoma in the Orange Bowl. We'd have won that game. So anyway, so I gave him a hard time about that. All right. So you let me say this. You had a great NFL career. You played 10 years. All right. And so you inducted in the Chiefs Hall of Fame in 2017. What was that like for you?
Oh, that was a great honor, man. That was something that was surprising to me, and just never saw that coming. But it's one of the greatest feelings. Kind of validated all the hard work that you put in, and I'm very appreciative of that. I thank Clark for recognizing that and putting me into the Chiefs Hall of Fame. I mean, it's nothing better than being recognized
absolutely.
By your organization that you played 10 years with, Bob. So I mean, that's about it.
That's cool, man. Well, if you had one thing to say to parents and kids today, what would you say other than what we talked about earlier?
Well, I would tell them, give your kids choices, meaning they got to start with grades. You got to have some grades to have some options. You can have all the talent in the world. You got to have a great attitude.
Yes.
Those are the 2 main things that I think is very important to young athletes today, is that you got to have a great attitude and you got to have some options. Your options are, hey, I am a 3.8, 4.0 GPA student. I can go anywhere and always have something to fall back on. Have options, man, and I think you'll be very successful.
Absolutely. Well, it's amazing because we had long NFL careers. We played beyond 3-4 times the average life in the game, but yet and still that day is going to come where you're not going to be playing anymore.
Absolutely.
So tell the people right now, what are you doing in your life?
Well, right now I'm a McDonald's franchisee. I've been doing this now for over 25 plus years. I have 3 locations and I have my hands full. Yep. But it's a great transition from sports. It allows me to be competitive against other owner operators because we always want to have the best running restaurant. And it's a great way to make a living. And the great thing that I like about it, Bob, is I get to impact a lot of young kids, meaning I talk to them about work ethics, how they should conduct themselves in interview, what they should look like when they come to an interview. Just because it's McDonald's it's important to me. It's my livelihood.
That's right.
Short story. I had a young man come in, saggy pants, just wasn't looking very professional. And I'm interviewing him. I say, you know what? You possess a lot of good qualities. But you think that you dress like this is going to impress me to hire you? I say, I'll tell you what. I'm going to be here another 2 hours. You come back within those 2 hours. Come dressed, looking professional. We'll sit down and talk again. The young man came back looking professionally. I hired him on the spot. He worked for me for about 2 or 3 years, and he's gone on to a better, something better, which is great. We're just a starting ground for a lot of young kids, and if you want to make it your career, then we have some nice options too. But those are kind of things that are rewarding to me, and I have a lot of young athletes too that come in and want to work on weekends. And
Good.
This job is very fulfilling. Met a lot of good people, and I've really enjoyed it.
Cool. That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Well, you were a part of the Big Five that came out of Palm Beach County in the mid-70s. I call us the Big Five.
Oh, good.
And you talked about O.J. Anderson, played at Forest Hill High School.
Absolutely.
And yourself, Carlos, played at John L. Leonard. I played at Atlantic High School. Richard Jackson played at Pahokee.
Yes.
And then the young buck out of the group, Anthony Carter, played at Suncoast. I call us the Big Five. And we all played against each other in high school. And I'm telling you, it was so good competing against you. I enjoyed competing against you, having a friendship with you in high school, college, and in the NFL. And bro, I'm going to say this right now. You represent the 5-6-1 to the T.
Well, hey, Bob, I appreciate it. You've done a great job yourself, man. I just want to say thank you for allowing me to be on your show, and it's been a wonderful experience for me, man.
Well, thank you.
I got your number now, so we definitely need to stay in contact.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's our show for today. If you like the video, like it, share it, and comment. This is 100 Yards of Football, and we had the great Carlos Carson with us this Wednesday. God bless you guys.
Hey.
See you again.